Much like The Thing, of course, the object of the terror, of course, in John Carpenter's The Thing, it's the alien, and in this movie, it's the witch herself. Only appears on screen for a small amount of time. Yeah, only appears in a few limited scenes. You know, it's a prime example of using something, you know, just enough and no more, you know, to avoid losing the impact. And that was something that I thought was really well handled. You only saw the witch, you know, it was only as much as you needed. You know, there was no oversaturation here. So whenever you did see the witch, it was like, you know, it was you know, you weren't tired of it. You know, you weren't. It wasn't just there. It had impact. You know, and it kind of helped to keep, like, I don't know if you could say, like, the fear of the unknown. You know, but it was really used effectively. You could also say, like in The Conjuring as well, because the Bathsheba witch, you know, who's the main ghost of that movie, only appears in a few scenes, but again, only as much as she needed to. So yeah, that was another point that I think is worthy of mentioning. The use of the witch throughout the film, I thought was really well done. Because of course, like, you know, in a lot of horror movies, oversaturation is common, you know, and by the end, you've just totally lost its impact. So it showed some really good self-restraint here, and I think that again comes back to it being an independent film, because often you've got to wonder, you know, in a lot of like big budget horror films, you know, you can sometimes tell when there's studio interference, whereas of course with independent films you don't have to worry about that. And again, as I was saying, a prime example is the really bleak ending that this film has. Again, you know, if it was a big studio film, you could imagine, you know, the executives getting involved and saying, you know, you've got to change that, we can't have a bleak ending like that. But hey, praise to everyone involved in this, that they stuck to the guns. You know, again, total passion project this. And with that, you know, with that comes the, you know, the fact that not everyone's going to be, you know, it's going to be for quite a select audience, because this is very much a slow burn movie, this. And of course, very, you know, little to no jump scares. So for those who were just wanting like a popcorn flick, essentially something that they could go, you know, just have fun at with a lot of jump scares, you know, this isn't for them. You know, it's not. And again, you know, if it's not your thing, that's fine, you can't help that, but you've got to be advised, you know, don't go into this expecting, you know, your typical modern horror film, you know, because it's not like that. And another thing that you have to be able to get your head around is the fact that the dialogue in this movie, it's all written in that old English style. So if, you know, you need to be able to get your head around all that going into it, otherwise you're going to be lost. I think in my screening, I could tell there were a lot of people in there who just weren't getting into it. And I think there was one or two people actually left, so it just wasn't for them. And this brings me to a further point. I think this film itself, I don't know if it's one you should go see in the theatre. I think it's one of those where you'll appreciate it better watching it at home, you know, when the Blu-ray and DVD come out. That's what I'd recommend. Like, I will be getting this on Blu-ray in due course, because I would love to see it again, and I'd just to be able to get to watch it in your own home at your own pace, you know, with no one else around you bothering you. I think that's where you'll be able to appreciate it. I was comparing it to Only God Forgives, because that was a movie I wanted to go see in the theatre, missed the opportunity, got it on Blu-ray, but as I was watching it I was thinking, do you know, it's probably for the best, because I think that was another example of a film that you appreciate it more watching it in your own home, you know. So yeah, I would say to watch this one, to fully appreciate it, The Witch, I think you'd need to watch it at home, rather than in the theatre. And I think, again, to go along with this, The Witch, I think it's a movie you need to watch more than once, I think, to fully appreciate it. Yeah. So that's what I'd say. I mean, like I say, it's very much a slow burn, more psychological horror than on the jump scares, you know, and focusing on mood and atmosphere, but done very effectively, I thought. To go along with that, the music in this was very well done, used very effectively, and from what I got the impression that it was very much like The Revenant, in that a lot of natural lighting was used, and that was good, because a lot of scenes, you know, they're lit by candlelight, or you know, and so it only partially lit, so it does add to the tension, you know, like, you know, what's hiding in the darkness. But yeah, I thought it was very well done. It had quite an authentic look to it, I thought, this film did. Yeah, and the people involved really played the parts well, you know, and the way they managed to rattle off all this old English type dialogue it was impressive. And again, I think that's another reason why this might benefit from like a second viewing, so you could go back and clarify some of the dialogue which you may not have understood first time round. But yeah, I think, you know, I thought this was a really effective film. Again, it was, you know, I understand it's not for everyone, but I certainly liked it. And if you do like a slow burn, and if you liked something like The Thing and The Shining, you might be able, and if you feel as though you can handle, you know, all that, or certainly get to grips with that old English type dialogue, then I would say you'd probably enjoy this. Yeah, but again, still that thing of maybe wait till it comes out on home video, because you'd probably enjoy it better from the comfort of your own home, I think. But yeah, if this sounds appealing to you, you know, I'd recommend giving it a watch. But of course, if you didn't have any idea what it was about, this is the thing. I think a lot of people who went to see it in that screening, they didn't know what to expect, you know. So I think that kind of killed it for them. You know, they didn't go expecting what they got. But it's just one of those things. But like I said, sorry I'm repeating myself, but yeah, I liked it. You know, it looked authentic, costumes really well done, and you know, all the props and everything looked really, really good. And like I say, the location they found, because like I say, it really is in the middle of nowhere, so you did genuinely feel all the isolation. And you know, the weather was brilliant, you know, the dark and stormy nights, that was fantastic. And like I say, that forest was brilliant, you know, it really had like that imposing feel to it. But yeah, everyone involved did a really good job, I thought. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So that pretty much brings this to a close. You know, it was as good as I was expecting it to be. You know, it wasn't a disappointment, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again when it comes out on home video. So that pretty much brings this to a close. If what I've said so far seems to appeal to you, then I hope you enjoy it. And if you've seen it already, of course, I hope you agree with some of the points that I've made. But that brings this to a close, and thanks for sticking with me, guys, and I shall see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.